Action.
All right, says we're live.
Okay. Are we green light?
Yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. I am Dave Bigham. Welcome to National Flooring Equipment's presentation of the A30 DL7000 dust collector. Behind the camera is the somewhat famous Nick Stefanski. He's the brains of the operation. If you guys feel like you'd like to, you could chat and ask questions throughout the presentation, and he will feed those questions to me so I can answer them. Also, at the bottom right of the screen, you can go after the presentation, hopefully, to nationalflooringequipment.com. There's also a phone number for National Flooring Equipment in Minneapolis. If you guys have real specific technical questions, I would recommend that you call National and ask for my cell phone number. If it's application questions, if you want some more information about surface profiles, anchor profiles, NACE, ISO, ASTM, or SSPC, I'm certainly willing to answer those. We can discuss what kind of grit, the percentage you can add to this machine for steel applications. And if you guys wondering, I'm watching this guy, what's his experience, what does he know? I started my career building shot blasters many years ago at a company called Nilco. And since then, I've spent a lot of time on offshore oil rigs, blasting steel, Navy vessels, and countless other above ground oil storage petrochemical tanks. I've disassembled machines, put them through manways, put them back together. I've done vertical and horizontal blasting. So I know what I'm talking about, and I'm here to help with that information and that experience. Today specifically, we're going to talk about the A30 and the DL7000, which is something I'm super excited about. I live and breathe shot blasting. It's down into my soul, and it's funny, I walk around, I've been married 25 years, looking at the floor, and my wife always smacks me on the back of the head and says, quit looking at the floor, you look like you're depressed all the time. Because I'm always wanting to see what's going on with the surface that I'm walking on. So that's actually really true, by the way. So, excuse me. Some of the basics about the A30 right off the bat. This has two 24 horsepower motors, which propel the shot through shot blasting to the surface. It rebounds back up. The shot falls back into the hopper, and the dust gets evacuated into the vacuum. Sorry about the background noise. We're backed up to an airport, private airport, a little municipality, and sometimes they're pretty loud, so I'll try to talk real loud. Hopefully you guys can hear me, not the private jets that somebody, it's probably my private jet. Okay, just kidding, it's not my private jet. Already we had a question before this started, the ease of operation. These are great questions. This machine is actually designed to be super high production and super easy to use. And what do I mean by high production? This machine is capable of about 5,800 plus square feet an hour of production. That's absolutely amazing. That is 0 to 60 in a blink of an eye, gentlemen, when it comes to the shot blasting world. You'll be hard pressed to find something that hits harder and more efficiently to get done what you want to get done than you're going to find with this machine. Let's talk a little bit about the operation. Some of the features and benefits right off the bat. Your machine comes with this tool right here. And what you do is you put it here and you lift the machine up. You can actually do that to both sides. And the reason why you want to do this is for transportation. If you guys are going to bring it in and out of a trailer or in and off of a job site, it gives you plenty of clearance so you won't hang up. While we're talking about going in and out, if I take the side magnets off both sides, I'm actually capable of bringing this machine into a standard doorway. Without the side magnets, I can make the machine about 31.5 inches wide. So I still have accessibility into commercial, light industrial if they didn't have roll-up doors. So that's how you set it up for transportation, but I'm going to set it back on the ground because we're going to run it here in a little bit. You can actually do this to both sides too. Historically, this goes right here, so you won't lose it. I'm going to move it out of the way so it doesn't get in the way. This is a machine that you walk backwards. And frequently I'm asked the question, why would you want to walk backwards? It's a great question. You want to walk backwards because your machine's trailing behind you. So you're never contaminating or ruining the profile of the surface that you've already blasted. So some guys will say it's better, I wish you could walk forward. You're defeating the purpose. You're contaminating that surface. You want to do that. As far as operation, it's got a huge drive motor that pulls the machine, so it's really effortless. This is your gas pedal. This turns it on and makes it go, so when you squeeze the small handle to the big handle, it takes off. You've got variable speed, you have direction, and you also have an overdrive. So why do you want an overdrive? An overdrive is an important feature on this machine because let's say I get my speed set where I want it with my pot switch, but I go to turn around, but I want to turn around quickly. I don't want to have to lose that adjustment for that profile that I'm already getting, that I've tested, that I'm wanting every single time. So to bypass that, I can just kick on the overdrive. It bypasses that pot switch, and then I can flip it back off and I'm going the exact same speed, so you get a consistent profile back and forth. Some tricks right off the bat that you guys might notice is normally you start really close to your dust collector and you move away from it. That way your cord and your hose is trailing behind you, not getting in your way, and you're not running over it. I've also taped my hose and cords together, so as I'm going back and forth in an S pattern, they're not getting all tangled up and they're easier to manipulate. So that's another thing. There's a whole bunch of other little tricks and maintenance and stuff that I would prefer to do on a one-on-one basis than in a group setting. But I will tell you that the questions I try to teach the questions that I get asked over and over again, such as, why is it different from XYZ's blaster? This machine actually has locking liners. What does that mean? Anytime you're down on a job, you're not moving forward, you're not getting production. And what happens if you're on a schedule? The painter's waiting to paint in steel applications, the painters are coming right behind you. So you have X amount of square footage you have to get done, and they expect to paint that much to keep from flash rusting just from the moisture in the air. These locking liners actually lock together. There's no gaps. That means the shot's not hitting the rebound plenum. It's only hitting the liners for the most part, especially where it's the hottest, where it's moving the fastest, it's the most aggressive. That's a huge benefit. So you're really going to spend less money and less time because of the interior design. Not to mention the housing, typically, the manganese that it's made out of is thicker than a lot of the less expensive blasters that are out on the market. You also have a cord management system. We tend to use this as a gun because we're all immature. Okay, don't do that. We also want to turn this machine on when we get to that point. I'm not going to talk because between the sound of the machine running and the dust collector, you won't be able to hear me talking. So it has a height adjustable handle. So I'm short, so I have it down here where I like it. But there's some guys in the background that are 6'4". They can loosen this up and make it much taller so it's easier for them to operate all day long on a job site. The dust collector, let's talk just real quick about the dust collector. Do you want to swing over, Nick, and shoot the dust collector? We're going to change camera positions for a quick second. Something really important in the shot blasting scheme of things is how well your dust collector works. The Shot Blaster works off two basic principles: rebound and vacuum. You take either one of those away, your Shot Blaster won't work very effectively. And the more material it recycles, and I'm not talking about shot, I'm talking about the non-skid, the concrete dust, whatever you're removing off the surface, the more times it cycles through the system, the faster your parts wear, the more it costs you. So having an efficient dust collector with the correct CFM is really the key to the package. And when we talk about dust collectors, this is it. This dust collector runs about 920 CFM, give or take. That's amazing. We actually have a sticker that says keep your hands away for a good reason. 920 CFM is an absolutely amazing dust collector. It has a compressor, so it builds up, the compressor builds up air, and then after a few minutes, or after so many seconds actually, it shuts off. It's stored in a tank. It has a timer board that goes off every 40 seconds, and it pulses clean air inside the filter, which knocks the dust off. So when we're talking about dust collection, you actually have a couple of options with this machine, which is nice too. If I get it open. You can actually put a bag in this. Sorry about that, it was metal on metal, I apologize. Never happen again until next time. Do you guys have questions so far? Okay, so you can use this with a bag, or you can use this Longo pack. Both of them just pop up in there, so you can interchange either one of them very easily. The preferred method nowadays is the Longo pack, but there are guys that want to put a bag in this, use it because it has wheels, roll it over, and dispose of their waste into a 55-gallon drum. So there's still a need for this as long as you put a bag in it. Other customers really prefer the Longo pack, which is basically an endless tube that you just continue to pull, cut, and it makes a bag as you go. Your choice. It comes with both. It also comes with different size adapters on the back side, so you can choose to use different sizes of hose, so you can use it with multiple pieces of equipment or for multiple applications. This also has forklift pockets, so I can push it, but I can also pick it up with a forklift and transport it anywhere I need to. So now what we're gonna do, if there's no questions yet, and I'm trying to keep this super easy so everybody can see some of the features and benefits, but even though I'm up here talking, talk's cheap. So now we're gonna make some noise. I'm gonna turn the dust collector on, then I'm gonna turn on the Shot Blaster, and I'm gonna make a pass so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it can do.
Let me interrupt you with a comment.
Yes, question.
Paul was asking if there are attachment points for each unit where you want to pick up with a crane, put on a ship, or do you have to have the machine on a pallet like you would?
The Shot Blaster has lifting points where you can pick it up with a chain. The dust collector, I think it'd have to be on a pallet, or you'd have to utilize the forklift pockets. I think these are lifting points, but I'd have to make sure before I answer that. I think you can use the handles for lifting points, but I'll find out for sure, Paul. Great question.
And then do you want to just point out
Yeah.
the Shot Blaster, Larry?
So you've got lifting points, and also guys usually can utilize the rebound plenum here, and then here as well. And the book actually shows you how to properly lift it and what the lift points are. It's more important that the machine that you're lifting it with, you match it with the weights of each one to make sure that it's capable of lifting up the weight, because this is a pretty heavy machine. Before I make noise, does anybody else have any questions before we tear up some concrete surface in here? I'll just give it a second because there's a little bit of a lag. Live is 10 seconds really, so. While we're waiting on questions, I'll tell you guys a quick story. I got helicoptered out to a transatlantic oil platform one time. Got there, had my toolbox and my hard hat, and my vest, and I was all ready to do a setup and a training for a customer that bought one of these machines. It's bad weather rolled in. So the ship that was bringing the shot blaster and the dust collector got turned back around. And I remember going to the guy in charge saying, well, when's it coming? And he said, depends on the weather. I said, great. Can you just take me back to shore? They all laughed and said, you want us to fire up a helicopter just to take you back all the way to shore? Make yourself at home, you're gonna be here for a while. I didn't have any change of clothes, but I can tell you the food was good, people were friendly, and I learned how hard those guys work out on those platforms, so gained a lot of respect for that part of the industry right off the bat. It made me even more willing when the machine got there to spend extra time going over every little minute detail with them, so once I wasn't there, it would be a lot easier for them to make the machine do what it needed to do. Did we get any questions? No questions, great. So there's no questions, so I'm gonna make some noise, and Nick's gonna follow along with the camera so you guys can kind of see what we're doing. And do keep in mind that we don't own this building, so I certainly can blast the concrete all the way down to aggregate, but that's not what we wanna do. We wanna try to keep it moving quick enough and open up the valve just a little bit so you guys can see the production, but without destroying my floor completely. I can go back later and grind it, polish it, make it pretty, but not if I blast it down to aggregate. So you guys just have to kind of give me a little leeway on what I've got to work with here, because this isn't really a job site, and we do this over and over and over. If I blast down to the aggregate, pretty soon there won't be a building here. Okay, so let's make some noise. All my power is plugged in. I'm just gonna start turning everything on. I just turned on the main power to the dust collector. Now I'm gonna start the fan and the compressor. So the dust collector is firing up. And you guys, one other thing I should have said before I started that, you think they can still hear me? Is because this is a dual blast head shot blaster, one blast motor is gonna start, there'll be a delay, and then the other one's gonna start. That's to keep from pulling too many amps at once and tripping a breaker. So one blast motor is gonna start, one motor, one blast wheel, there'll be about a 15-second delay, and the second one will start, and then we'll start moving along and blasting. Main power. Turn it on. Start my blast motors.
Okay, we're back up. Camera just got out.
Okay, camera cut out, sorry, we'll go back. There's just a brief example. Everything's shut down in the background, so hopefully you guys can hear me. This is just a brief example of the kind of production and how efficient this machine is. It cleans and profiles in one step. This is ready to accept any kind of coating if it was concrete or steel. If this doesn't make the hair on the back of your neck stand up just a little bit, and I don't know what to tell you. This is an amazing machine. I encourage you guys to reach out to National, and if you have real specific questions as far as maintenance and maintenance schedule and how to do that maintenance, especially if you guys are serious about adding this to your arsenal of prep, reach out to National. You're welcome to talk to me anytime. And I'm on the front side when I talk about National's commitment to services everything. That doesn't mean a lot today, but later when you have a question and your machine's not doing this or you want it to do that, I'm available 24/7. And so are a lot of other people at National. That'll mean a lot to you then. It sounds like a lot of talk now, but when someone picks up that phone at 10 o'clock at night when flight operations are down or the airport's shut down or the building you're working on is empty for a long holiday weekend and you've got a time frame to get it done, that's important then. And we take a lot of pride in that. Questions?
Yes, Paul has another question.
Paul.
Is the blasting for bare steel only, or can you blast the deck with, say, non-skid already on it that you want to lift off and resurface that deck?
You can actually use this machine for concrete surfaces or clean steel, or if you're trying to descale, you can also remove non-skid. Typically non-skid requires either really slow movement of the machine or two passes. One to take up the majority of the non-skid and then another one to profile it. That's where I can come in later and we can talk about anchor profile, how much grit you can add to the machine, what kind of grit, because there's different kinds of grit in different sizes, there's different sizes of shot. A lot of time guys that are trying to take up non-skid, they're using really large shot, like 460, so it's very large, so it impacts and will remove the non-skid. Then they'll go back, once they remove the bulk of the material, and they'll mix maybe some 460 and some 390 and maybe even a little 330 with about 5% of grit, which is GL grit, not the GH. And the reason why only 5% grit is, A, if you put more than that in it, you're gonna get probably an anchor profile that you're not gonna wanna cover up, and that's not spec'd by the manufacturer. And two, grit is angular, unlike shot. Shot's round, so if I take a ball and throw it, the shot hits and rebounds back up. If I filled my machine with just grit, it's a rectangle, like a Wisconsin cheesehead. So if I throw that at the ground, it's gonna bounce any direction. So you can only put a small percentage in, so the shot will help carry it, return it up the rebound plenum and return it to the hopper so you can keep reusing it. Any more questions? It's a great question. We can talk more about that in person too if you'd like.
Alfredo would like to know how many hours in the blast wheel can be used.
So your average blast wheel lasts anywhere from 30 to 50 hours. And why am I telling you that there is a gap that large? If you're taking up non-skid, non-skid's super abrasive. That's the whole point of it. Your blast wheel is going to last 15, 20 hours max because it's abrasive. If you start adding grit into your machine, the life of your blast wheel is going to go down. If you're just blasting concrete like this, that's just super hard with sealers on it, I would expect 50 hours all day long out of my blast wheels. So the answer to that is, what kind of gas mileage do you get in your car? If I'm driving down the highway at 55 miles an hour, you get really good gas mileage. If I'm stuck in the city, bumper to bumper traffic like we have lots of in Denver, my gas mileage goes way down. So job site conditions dictate the real answer to that. The best thing you can do is be prepared with liners, lots of extra blast wheels, have spare parts so you can do the quick maintenance. They're easy to change. Blast wheels are easy to change. They take basic tools and basic mechanic skills. Look, you guys, if I can do it, you can do it. I promise you. Other questions?
One more from Alfredo. What other consumable is important to consider?
So for long-term or large jobs, you definitely want to make sure you have a complete set of liners, maybe brushes, filters for your vac. If you're going to choose to use the Longo pack, you want to have extra Longo packs because they're like trash bags at home underneath your kitchen sink. At some point, you're going to run out of them, so you want to make sure you've got the ability to get to them. And if you're on, we were talking about, I was talking a little bit about offshore drilling platforms. Those guys can't run to Home Depot. They can't just get something FedEx to them. So if you're in a remote location, it's even more important that you have spare parts to keep you running. And depending on your size of job and what you're taking up, I'm certainly willing to help you make recommendations on the parts you need, the parts you don't need. Some guys have excessive large amounts. Other guys have minimum stuff because they know that their liners are going to last a really long time because they're doing a simple application like this. Other guys that are really beating their machines up with their application, they're stocking a lot more parts.
Can you talk about the warranty and on-site repair if necessary?
On-site repair would probably be video like this most of the time. I'm not saying that somebody couldn't come, but the end user would probably be responsible for that cost. But listen, this isn't that complicated. This machine's pretty simple. So most everything gets done through FaceTime with me or with somebody at National in the Minneapolis office. I can walk you through how to change your top liners, how to change your side liners, how to set up your blast wheel. Worst case scenario, you had an electrical problem, which that's not a really big thing. The boxes are sealed and our boxes are built with top of the line components. The only electrical problems I typically have is in transport. Sometimes contactors might bounce and trip, and a guy gets his machine, gets it out of the crate, gets it onto the site, gets it powered by an electrician, and then something doesn't turn on. Normally I can just walk you through the schematics. We can identify which breaker or which contactor strip. You just flip it on, and then that's the end of the problem. And I'm available for that as far as FaceTiming or just doing a video, Teams or Zoom or whatever it is that works best for you guys. I can do that at any time of day or night. Unless I'm on an airplane, which right now that's not going to happen, and it could be a while, but I'm available all the time unless I'm on an airplane. And they don't make those rules, but that's the rules.
And warranty real quick?
Warranty, oh, sorry, I skipped it. Warranty is 1 year from the time of your purchase, I believe. And that does not cover your wear parts. So that's like buying a car. Your warranty, when they say bumper to bumper, doesn't cover your tires. It doesn't cover your blast wheels and your liners. It covers manufacturer's defects. And that's not something we experience very much here at National. But I could say in the past that if we have had any issues, National's been really good about taking care of the problem and fixing the issue right away. I know there's some of my guys from foreign countries that are on that had some issues. We fixed it immediately at our cost, and we did the right thing. National is not a small company, but we're not so big that we don't care about the customers anymore. If you guys have a problem, we'll address it, fix it. We'll do the right thing. We're like you. We have families. We care about each other. We care about our customers. That is something super important to us, is our reputation. We've been around since 1968. We're not going anywhere. And in order to make sure that happens, we have to address any issues that come along when they do come along.
Do you want to do anything with the 3?
I don't have it wired up. Can we do another one?
Oh, do you want to bring it over top?
Yeah, we can. I can definitely do that. We have lots of models of Shot Blasters, starting with a manual 110 volt, all the way up to the A30 and everything in between. There's so many customers out there doing so many different applications. They have different jobs, different budgets, and that's part of pairing the right tool for the job. Not everybody uses a machine. If I'm doing garage floors for a living, probably not going to buy an A30. I'm probably going to buy a little 110 volt machine that weighs 110 pounds that I can lift out of a truck by myself. And I have a much smaller, less expensive dust collector. Here it comes. I've got a delivery. Hey, we're going to have Nick Stefanski. We've got the whole marketing department here, and here's a huge part of it. The fit, handsome, young Nick Stefanski. This is a 333. So what's the difference is this is 230 volt, and this is a three-phase machine still, but what this does for you is it offers high production, low cost. So for guys, especially that are doing, mid-sized commercial or industrial, but they don't use their machine every single day, and they don't have 50,000 square foot jobs, but they want the production. This is the type of machine that falls right into that category. So if a guy's using this 10 times a year, he doesn't want to sub the work out to somebody that might steal it or wait around for that guy to show up or not show up, but he doesn't use it every single day. He's probably going to opt for a 333. High production, very low cost as far as purchase, but it gets the job done. It just doesn't have a ton of features and benefits like the new A97. Our new A97 series has lots more features and benefits for operators and job sites where they're using it every single day. But those guys recognize those features in the A97 versus the 333. But still guys are out there that need to get high production at low cost because they're not utilizing it on a regular enough basis. That's where this machine comes into play. This actually goes forward, which is contradictory to what I said before, but the A97 goes backwards, this goes forward. Despite the fact you're walking on your profile, there's guys that don't want to walk backwards. Those guys are stubborn and they like this machine better, and that is fine. That's what makes the world go round. So you actually have two options. You can go what I consider the correct way for blasting backwards with the A97, or you can go in the forward direction and just follow along with this machine. And if that's what you prefer, I'm not saying it's wrong. If that's what you're most comfortable with, this is the machine for you. This has liners, but they're not locking liners, but it does have liners, top liners, side liners, basic blast wheel. Your shot goes in here. Your air wash here. This is your rebound plenum. And it does still have features. The handle's still height adjustable for the guys that are taller or shorter. I'm really short, but I make up for it in width. There's other guys that are thin and tall and handsome in the background that you can't see. They're going to raise this handle up. So here's your shot valve. This opens it, this closes it. This starts your travel speed forward. This is your main power. This starts your blast wheel. And you still have a speed control, and you still have an overdrive button. So it does have a lot of features. It just doesn't have as many features as the newer designed A97 series that are more ergonomically friendly, more operator friendly. The A97 has features that allow you to get a little bit closer to the wall. So for a guy that's looking for a little bit more and they're willing to spend a little bit more, and I call those the everyday guys, where they run a shot blaster every day. They're going to lean toward the A97. Guys on a budget, for getting into the market, but they still are getting lucky and getting bigger jobs, they'll jump right into a 333 right away. And keep in mind, typically, if you buy a shot blaster, even if it's for 2 or 3 jobs that you've got lined up that you bid, you tend to still use it no matter what. You might add smaller blasters later or larger blasters later, but you're still going to find utilization for this almost on a regular basis, because once you figure out that this cleans and profiles in one easy step, chances are you're not going to go back to prepping any other way. Shot blasting is an amazing tool. It's been around for a really long time, and it's really popular because it's fast, efficient, and your cost per square foot to prep is a lot cheaper than any other way to do it. Everybody wants to talk about diamond grinding. There's applications for that. There's guys that need to do that because there's things that grinders can do that blasters can't do. But if it's just basic prep, the cost of diamonds as a consumable compared to shot and wear parts in a blaster is considerably less. So if you're trying to get a job done quicker and make more money, faster, with less labor, and make it just go from this job to the next, shot blasting is the way to go. I'm a big believer in it. If you put a coating on this floor I just blasted, it's not coming up. Good luck getting it up. It's not going to bond. You get all of the anchor profile. You have all those hills and valleys for where the shots hit. For so many impacts per square inch that your coating soaks in, and it also opens the porosity of the concrete, but it locks in tight. Nothing will create a better bond than shot blasting. Questions? Questions? Hey, thanks everybody for attending. I'm super excited to talk to you today and in the future. I love my job at National. I love what this equipment does for you guys. It gets me motivated in the morning to know that I'm helping somebody make their job easier and to get through quicker and to have less headaches and to understand their equipment and its application. It's really what gets me up in the morning. That's it. No questions? Feel free to reach out later. You guys can look down at the screen once again. Call the 800 number. If you want to talk to me specifically, certainly ask them for my contact information. My phone's turned off right now because I'm standing in front of an audience that you can't see in a camera, but I will turn that back on directly, and I'm available to answer questions, especially the guys that think that they're, if you're a team out there looking to pull the trigger, you're probably going to have some more technical questions, and I'll make myself available for that at any time in the future to go over any of that, so you feel more comfortable about, well, this was just kind of a broad, quick, get to the point, why is this, what's the differences, why does it work, that was it. Thanks again.